I almost don't care either way. I'm think I'm ready to rank him the top wide receiver on this team over Amari Cooper.
Look at the release.
There's your separation.
Great route.
Stutter and go. Gets by clean.
That is unbelievable.
May be the greatest catch I've ever seen.
How much better and what draft price would you pay for somebody like CeeDee Lamb if you got news, you got hard visual evidence that, okay, Mike McCarthy is going to move him around in the offense, because versus what he did last year as a rookie, which is pretty much play primarily as an inside man.
If they leave CeeDee Lamb in this high percentage role, while he's not just, doing little pop gun slot receiver routes, he's winning down the field. That could be massive in terms of his production in this offense. Lamb, I think, is a really fascinating projection because I am of the opinion that he could be the best receiver on this roster. I think he could be the true number one here. And look, he was that type of prospect coming into the NFL, but that's not really how he was deployed last year. Honestly, if you wanted to make a pure comparison from a role perspective in reception perception, you'd actually look at a guy like Cooper Kupp, like how he's been used with the LA Rams. A guy that CeeDee Lamb only faced press coverage on 7.1% of his charted routes. He ran against zone coverage on almost 60% of his routes. That's the type of thing you usually see from an interior receiver that they use on short patterns. They get him those free releases. Again, it's very comparable to Cooper Kupp's role, explosive vertical route runner, over 70% success rate on those 9 routes. And when he did go against press coverage, he was awesome. I think he could actually play outside as a number one X receiver.
CeeDee Lamb, I thought, had a fabulous, rookie season, 74 receptions on 111 targets. I thought the volume actually was pretty surprising overall for CeeDee Lamb, given a crowded wide receiver room with Michael Gallup and Amari Cooper, given the fact that Andy Dalton was back there, not Dak Prescott. And let's be real, he turned in a fine campaign, had over 1,000 scrimmage yards, just shy of 1K through the air, but 6 total touchdowns as well. Matt, when I look at his reception perception numbers, I don't know, kind of sort of decent everywhere, although he did kind of sort of stand out on the 9s as well. I would be a little bit higher, I think, on CD, just because, again, those high value downfield targets, that's really what we're talking about. I mean, especially in basketball, that's what we're talking about. But even in typical redraft, it's like you want your guys, and I know we sound super nerdy every time we say air yards, but you want your guys with air yards, and it's hard to get air yards when you're talking about a guy lined up in the slot. So that is something that I'm going to be watching for. I mean, he's 6'2", 200 pounds. They spent a first-round pick on this guy. Look, I'm not saying he's not the fastest guy in the world. He's not the most athletic guy in the world, but, the route running, I think, is there. And again, I think he does profile as an outside wide receiver. Is he a pure X receiver? Probably not. He's not that guy. But, you mention it all the time, Matt. You want guys that you can move around on the line, and he is absolutely that chess piece. So I'm very curious to see what year number 2 brings. But by the way, how surprised were you? I know Gallup is there, but how surprised were you that Dallas really didn't move him around a lot? He was pretty much exclusively their slot man.
I think the floor and the ceiling can be pretty close here because, listen, if he stays almost purely as a slot receiver, that's fine too, because he can win vertically from the slot, and he can also get those layup targets on slants, on digs over the middle of the field where I think Dak is going to be wanting to get the ball out quickly if that offensive line is a question again, even though I think it's going to be better this year with some of these guys back healthy. I mean, I guess at that point we're asking Mike McCarthy to be forward thinking, which and you kind of know what you're getting with there. So I'm really not sure how these guys are all going to project next year. That's kind of what I really want to see, in mini camp and training camp, where these in preseason, hopefully, where these guys are lining up and where they're being deployed. Because I think that could be a big, big key to unlocking where these guys are going to slot in terms of the target pecking order, opportunity pecking order, stuff like that.